Good morning, everybody. This is Steve. My rock and metal life here in Las Vegas, Nevada. My Nevada-based headquarters for rock and metal life, I guess. We are here. As you can see, I'm proudly wearing my t-shirt for Tesla's show last night at the House of Blues, which was the last night of their first run over here at their Las Vegas residency. And they've just announced some dates in September, and we are almost certainly going to come back for one of those after what we saw last night. Today is the greatest day on the calendar, as I've said before. It's the day after a show. My ears are ringing, and this was one heck of a good show. Tesla, this is one of the bands that they are in my inner circle. This is a group here that I've seen upwards of, it's between 5 and 10 times. I can't remember. Most of them in California, but I've seen them a bunch, followed along with the catalog. They've gone through some lineup changes here, and the records over the years, hard to match the 1, 2, 3, 4 punch they came out with at the beginning of their careers. But I've got all of them except Simplicity. I never got that one, but I've got Shock. And I really there's a bunch of songs that I really like on Into the Now and Forevermore, but they're stock and trade really, and their reputation is off of the first 4 records: Mechanical Resonance, The Great Radio Controversy, Psychotic Supper, and Bust a Nut. And of course they got a lot of attention with their acoustic set back in the days when the MTV Unplugged shows were big. They were one of the early ones to really get a big boost out of that, and the song Signs was maybe their biggest hit of them all, which was released as a single and had its own video and all that. And they came out with that acoustic record. So here's a band that's done really well, and I'm so glad they're back on the road, still out there. The lineup we got Jeff Keith singing, and then we've got Frank Hannon on guitar, and we've got Brian Wheat on bass. And for a number of years now, I think going back to Into the Now, Dave Rude's on guitar. I should probably look this up if I'm going to say anything. I don't believe he played on Into the Now, but he started touring with them, and I might have that wrong. Tommy might have toured there. But Dave's been in the band a good long while, and I think he first shows up on Forevermore, and he does. So now Troy Lucketta's backed out of the tour this time, and that's another one of those ones. I'm not really sure what's going on, and I hope everything's all right between everybody. I hope it's as simple as this stage in all of our lives. Some things, maybe you don't want to tour, maybe you don't want to be the rock star at this point. I don't know if there's something more than that. I hate disconnects between the band members of the bands that I love. But anyway, so they got I believe his name's Steve Brown. He's I think he's Wild Mick Brown's brother, and he plays for Trixter, but he played last night, and he was fantastic on the drums. And here we are at the House of Blues, and I don't know if you haven't been to one of these places. It's really hard to get a bad seat because it's a really tight venue with a lower level and then a balcony, going all the way around the floor area. Almost no bad seats. We came pretty close because we were up on top and we were over to the side a little bit. And so there was, unless we stood up, we couldn't see the part of the stage that was closest to us. But that's how small it is. The balcony, is like, it doesn't overhang the stage, but it's over a bunch of the lower level, like the bar area on each side is below the side balcony areas. And what we could see Jeff Keith and Frank Hannon, basically the whole show. And I mean, looks like you can just reach out and touch them. You're just looking down on them. It's just fantastic. place, and the vibe is really good. And this crowd last night was just terrific, singing and dancing and everything. Knowing all the words to the songs, jamming along with everything. It was just really, really good. And so a lot of energy from the get-go. I'm going to go through the set list. They, after playing some really good songs over the PA, they went into, Tesla's coming on stage because they start playing this thing where it sounds like the old days of adjusting the radio dial, and you hear these frequencies and everything, and it'll stop for a second and it'll be in the middle of one of their songs, and then you'll hear squeak, 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 and then another song focuses in, so it's them. They're Tesla songs. They, 4, 5, 6 songs like that, and the band's going to come out. And when they finally get to the end of that, they come out and they do Change in the Weather. First song off of Psychotic Supper. Love that song. Put this in your pipe and smoke it. Just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song. Great one to start the show with. And then the next thing that they did right after that smoking number is they went into Modern Day Cowboy. And I mean, just blew the roof off the place. Just absolutely astounding, just how much energy there is in there and how good these guys are. You got the 2 guitars, going at it. Jeff Keith is, he's the same guy he was, when we first saw him in '86. He's, all over the place, smiling, big toothy smile, just killer. Just killer live song. One of the better live songs, that I've seen. I've seen these guys a number of times. Modern Day Cowboy always delivers. Last night, just in that setting, that spot in the set, it's kind of like a surprise that, that they're coming at you with that. And then they did The Way It Is, and then they did We're No Good Together from Mechanical Resonance. That was kind of a surprise to me, and I have looked at the set lists of the other shows here at the residency, and I don't remember seeing that. And I know they're changing it up each night. They're playing. They're not playing the exact same set, and they're adding some stuff. I know they were doing Beatles songs on 1 or 2 of the other shows, and they didn't do it here. But anyway, after We're No Good Together, they played Time to Rock. And it was at that point that Jeff Keith announced that Sebastian Bach was here. A good friend of ours, Sebastian Bach's here tonight. And where we were sitting up on the balcony on the one side, you could see directly into the offstage area over on Frank Hannon's side of the stage. And I was not paying attention because there's whoever's over there. I think the VIPs are over there, and whoever's with the band and whatnot. And plain as day, there's Sebastian. He's probably been standing there the whole time, and I didn't notice. But he's back in the shadows. So there he is. And I was thinking, he's, this is the last show, essentially like the last show of the tour. If you've ever been to one of those, kind of pull out all the stops some of the bands do. And I thought he's coming out. He's gonna sing something. So they played Time to Rock, and they put the lyrics up on the screen, and to tell you the truth, Time to Rock kind of slowed the momentum because nobody knew the song, and whatever. I think it's fine they're making new music. I think it's fine they're playing it live, but it was kind of palpable. The people around me were on their feet dancing around. Now we're 5 songs in, and a couple of them took a break, and I don't know, we're all older, maybe it's as simple as that. But next song, Heaven's Trail, one of my favorites in their catalog, and they nailed it. Just nailed it as usual. After that, they did Miles Away from Into the Now, and like I said, I like Into the Now. I don't put it up with the others, but that was one that when I bought it, I was, oh man, I'm so glad they're back. It's been 10 years, gotta hear anything they have. And I played the living crap out of this. Into the Now is a song I like. What a Shame is it's weird. It's like they always had that formula for songs that, like, not really a ballad, but kind of slow and melancholy kind of stuff. And this one is kind of a downer rather than, The Way It Is, or, Love Song or something like that. And it's, it seems like it's a song that's got like a lot of pain in it. And then they had like Heaven 9/11, a 9/11 tribute. and then Caught in a Dream, pretty good, and then Miles Away, Mighty Mouse, Got No Glory. Yeah. So Into the Now, pretty good. Definitely a different sound from what we were used to from them, but that's okay. I like it. It's good. Not in the top of their catalog, but it's pretty good. And so that was the only song off of that. And then they played Changes, and then they played Love Me from Mechanical Resonance, which I think they played that at all the shows. And then Call It What You Want. And then they did, okay, here's the stretch, coming down the home stretch. They played What You Give, okay? And that's a, huge song in their catalog, okay? Like that one. Then Frank Hannon said, hey, here's a song that we don't play very often, but we're going to play it now. And it was Song and Emotion. And, of course, that's about Steve Clark from Def Leppard and Tesla. They're all the touring they've done all the years. The tour with Def Leppard was where I think that's special to them. And I think there was, from what you read from these guys, they made huge connections with the Def Leppard guys. Plus, it was when Tesla really popped. I mean, they got to go from the level they were on to, the level Def Leppard was on, and, tour-wise and all that. And, everything they touched turned to gold in that time period. So I'm sure it's a very special time for the band. So there it is. You had What You Give, then you have Song and Emotion, and then the acoustic guitar is still up there. And Frank Hannon says, we just lost somebody real close to us, and he plays Simple Man, referencing Gary Rossington, of course. So he just played like the first verse, and then they went into Love Song, okay, and and all of these, anything that you could even remotely classify as a hit, from the old days, I'm not talking about what they're playing on classic rock radio now, but you know how it was if you were there. All these songs, single after single, we heard them over and over on the radio, even if we didn't have the cassettes and CDs. Any song that fits into that category from these guys, the crowd was up and at them, dancing, like literally, guys and girls dancing together, everybody. It was fantastic. The guy next to me, God bless this guy, really enthusiastic. Possibly the worst dancer I have ever seen at a concert ever. Not his fault, no problem. Hit me in the head like 4 times with the elbow. All good. That's what we're here for, man. Tonight's the night for that. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, Love Song, and then Little Susie was next. Okay, and again, all the lyrics. Everybody singing along. Fantastic. And then they went about the business of getting Sebastian Bach out on the stage, and he comes out there, and once again, whenever I see that guy, and maybe this has more to do with Tesla than him, but the guy seems like he's absolutely huge. I don't know how big that guy is, but now standing out there next to those guys, he seemed pretty big. But anyway, big personality, up there doing signs with them, and I'm gonna upload the video later, which it's not the greatest video because they keep disappearing from my view because I'm the people in front of me are looking over the balcony. They got their hands up and stuff, so it's probably one of the not so great videos, but there's some pretty good moments in it where you can see him. And somebody threw roses up on the stage, and he picks them up. At the end of the song, he picks them up and takes a bite out of them and spits them out and throws the roses back, and that's on brand for him. And he's a guy I had to unfollow him on Twitter because he's wrapped up in all this stuff I don't really want to hear about. But he's a front man. He's a definitely a master of ceremonies, leading guy. He found his calling. He's in the job he's supposed to be in. So he's up there, and again, it's just a love fest up there. The Tesla's celebrating. Bach's with them. Great set. I want to go back to what I was pointing out about down the stretch. If there's any criticism of the show, and there's not, I'm not. I don't even want to frame it like that, but I already have. So they came out of the gates just both guns blazing. The heavy stuff was featured prominently. Changing the Weather, Modern Day Cowboy, The Way It Is, We're No Good Together, then Time to Rock, Heaven's Trail. That's like coming at you live, which would have been cool for that, but they didn't do that one. But anyway, that's pretty strong, pretty solid. And then they went into their more what do you want to it's hard to call some of these songs ballads. They're really not, but the slower stuff, and that they kind of finished with that. They finished with What You Give, Song and Emotion, Simple Man, Love Song, Little Susie, up tempo, that's pretty good. And then Signs is, it's a sing along and it's up tempo, but that's the only thing I would say. I kind of would have expected the punch between the eyes. They would have saved that for the end. But again, pointing that out, really not as criticism. It's like that. This band, this is their catalog, and I think my point here is they finish it with the sing-alongs, the crowd, singing about love. We're all together. We're all here tonight. For this celebration. So maybe I'm just wondering if there's if there's something there, like to the way of thinking, like, hey, we really want to bloody their nose at the beginning with our heavy stuff, but when we, because Tesla in my mind, always, like, especially looking at Jeff and Frank, kind of like our 80, for us 80s people, they're kind of like our 60s Woodstock kind of peace and love folks, as solid, as heavy as they can be when they're really heavy. And when you had the two guitars jamming back when it was Tommy, the really heavy guy, and now Dave going back and forth with Frank, oh yeah, they're as heavy, it's like going seeing Night Ranger, it's like going seeing Rat, it's like anybody with a two guitar, they can blaze away with anybody that's out there. But I think Tesla's kind of a, more of a, they're definitely not, warning us of the dangers of evil. They're spreading love, is what they're doing, and that's cool. That's I never thought of them like as a soft or a ballad. Their biggest songs are ballads. I never thought of them like that, because I already I remember the day I saw Modern Day Cowboy on MTV. It was MTV was doing their, I think it was like Hard 30 or something it was called. It was like 30 minutes of heavy metal, in the middle of the day. And I saw the video for Modern Day Cowboy, and that's it. I'm going to buy that record, and I did. I bought that immediately, and I played that in my car cassette player over and over, and that's who they are. That's who they are to me. They can do anything. They can do a lot of stuff, music-wise. So anyway, fantastic show. Absolutely fantastic show. And I've been saying that in just about every one of these videos. I am on a heck of a run. Going back to October, we saw the Scorpions. That's one in particular I was worried, what's that going to look like? Because they're getting up there, like all of us. And that was killer. That was fantastic. And then we saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and it may have, of the 7, 8, 9 times I've seen them, that may very well have been the best one. What do we do after that? Wasp. Oh, Wasp. That was, I mentioned that was kind of a blind spot for me, and they just knocked it out of the park. And then about a month ago, we saw Max Sabbath, kind of a novelty band, definitely a novelty band. The McDonaldland characters playing Black Sabbath songs, but the lyrics are changed to talk about fast food, and how it kills you and stuff like that. But that was terrific. That was a great time. I would highly recommend anybody go see that. And then this thing tonight, we're rolling along pretty good. We're not just getting to go to a bunch of shows, but they're really delivering. I mean, there's nothing to complain about with any of these shows I've been to lately. And this one here, I'll tell you, I'm probably the next thing I do this morning. I'm gonna look and see what's on sale for September, because Las Vegas, not really my kind of town. I don't gamble at all. But yeah, you set up shop in your hotel. You don't really have to drive anywhere. The Uber here is off the rails. It's just, you pick a Uber driver and he's 1 minute away, no matter where you are. Except last night we couldn't get an Uber back over here because of Taylor Swift over at the Allegiant. And I Ubered this morning, and I confirmed that with my driver this morning. I told him, man, we had to walk back from House of Blues, and he goes, yeah, Taylor Swift, man. They were trying to get drivers. They were enticing us with bonuses and everything if we could be available. And I said, oh man, could have used you, but hey, that's the other thing. All these things are right next to each other. Didn't kill us to walk, but yeah, great. Short little trip here. We're only here for like 48 hours. We're going back home tonight. But great show, man. Tesla, I mean, not even close to slowing down. If you get a chance to see them, and especially if you get a chance to come back here, I think it's a great move for any of these bands. If they could just set up shop here and just, play here and, not have to do the rigors of touring, which is probably what it is at this stage. But hey, House of Blues, great place to see this show. Just about every seat in the house is just phenomenal. So I would highly recommend it. Tesla, still rocking.